Okay, how we doing? It is Monday, March 19th, 2018. Rich Fantastic with you, giving you our weekly NBA report. Didn't do one last week. Didn't have enough time, so we're doing one today. Starting in the Eastern Conference, the Toronto Raptors finally got their win streak stopped. They are now 52 and 18, still hold the 5 game lead over the Celtics. Celtics lost again last night. Celtics are just playing like absolute trash right now. The Celtics were 34 and 10 at one point. They are 500 since then. Now that they are 47 and 23, yeah, 14 and 14. This was a team that really shouldn't have had any trouble winning 60 games, and now they're going to struggle to even win 55. For Toronto, certainly they suffered the loss the other day. They are blazing right now. They are still plus 8.6 in their differential, playing very well in that regard. Also, a very good road team as well as a home team. You look, the Celtics are actually a little bit better on the road, but the Celtics are just terrible. I'm terrible in relative sense. Terrible for a team that's going to win 50 plus games at home, as opposed to Toronto, who's 29 and 6 at home. Cleveland is now the third spot in the East. They're still bucking it. Those three teams: the Cleveland Cavaliers, Washington Wizards, who are 40 and 30, half game back, and Indiana, who's now lost 2 straight, a half game back of the third spot there. Philadelphia 76ers, they're coming on. They've now won 2 straight, moving along nicely, starting to really put things together. You've got to make sure you continue to see that improvement down the stretch. Let's see if they can get to at least 14 games. And of course, by the way, Anthony Davis went off on the Celtics last night. They just have no answers for big men. God, I mean, the Celtics, they're pretty. As a Celtics fan, I don't even want to talk about it, how bad things have gotten for them. As we said, Philadelphia 38 and 30, so it's really shaping up. You really basically have your teams in the playoffs. Milwaukee 37 and 32. They have lost one. They are still negative in their differential, but certainly these teams, and Miami 37 and 33, separating themselves. Detroit 2 and 8 in their last 10 at 30 and 39. They've lost 3 straight. Even if they get hot, which they've shown the tendency to do at times, they've been hot and cold. I don't think there's enough time left in the season that they can save it, even if they just end the season really hot. Charlotte 30 and 40, most likely out of it. The Knicks 25 and 45. Of course, they're all out of it, not yet eliminated technically, but they're out of it. Chicago, I give them a lot of credit, a lot of talk about tanking. Of course, all these teams are tanking. It's the worst kept secret ever. But they really didn't have much to play for this year. And 24 and 45, while it's a bad record, I don't think this team is tanking by any means. I thought they'd be a lot worse. Brooklyn 22 and 48, almost certainly not going to get to that 30-win mark. That's a little bit disappointing in that regard. But they are also tanking, so you don't. But then again, Brooklyn, I'm sorry, is not tanking, because they have no reason to. They don't hold the pick, so that's a little difficult to swallow that they're not going to get to 30 wins. You wanted to see more improvement. Orlando 21 and 49. They really have not done anything since they lost to Dwight Howard. And then the Hawks, losers of 6 straight at 20 and 50. In the West, the Houston Rockets 56 and 14, winners of 5 straight. Now, yet again, they hold the 3-game lead with 12 left over the Golden State Warriors, who are 53 and 17. You would be very hard pressed to find a reason why Houston is not going to win the conference and have the top overall seed. There could be a little bit of a slip up here, but still, I don't see this team losing 3 games in a row at any point, and that's really what it would take for them to not do it. I know that doesn't directly correlate. You have the 3-game lead, you lose 3 straight, that it automatically means that that's what's going to be the difference, but it would have to be something like that, at least 2 straight or losing 4 out of 5 here, and I don't see that happening with the way this team can win games. Golden State, as we said, 53 and 17. Portland, here they come at 44 and 26. They've won 13 straight. They're probably going to get to 50 wins, but very tough for them to get to 55. They would have to close out the season 11 and 1, which would mean they won 24 out of 25. Down the stretch of the season, you're very unlikely to see that. Once again, with the Portland Trail Blazers, a team that, of course, is coming along, just not enough guns outside of Lillard and McCollum to really have any chance. Now, they have beaten some good teams. Like we said, this isn't like one of those illegitimate or anything win streaks. They've beaten the Warriors twice. They've beaten the Jazz, who are red hot as well. We'll get into them in a moment. Yeah, they've played some poor teams, The Suns, the Kings, the Lakers, who are a little bit improved, don't get me wrong, but the Knicks. But they've also beaten the Thunder, who are right behind them on a win streak. The Timberwolves, up and down with Jimmy Butler, but still in the playoff chase. The Heat, Cavaliers, Clippers, who are outside of the playoffs, but still certainly playing. So they've done enough, as far as my opinion, to make it you understand this is not that you're just picking on the lesser teams and that's how they've gotten hot. Yeah, there are a few lesser teams on there, but they've beaten good teams as well as the poor teams. As we said, Lillard 26.7, McCollum 21.7. Lillard still putting up the good numbers. Got to consider him for MVP. Nurkic, the only other guy in double figures at 14.1. And you have a lot of the other guys. Shabazz Napier off the bench, 9 points. Alfred Camino, 9.3. Evan Turner, 8.1. I'd like to see if any one of those guys can really step up and be much more consistent. I thought it would have been Turner when they got him. It hasn't happened. Oklahoma City, now winners of 6 straight. They are 2 back of Portland for that 3rd spot. So all the hubbub about, the Oklahoma City Thunder's struggle this season, they can still finish at the 3rd spot. Let's see. You'd like them to at least get to 50 wins. Give them the legitimacy of that. It will require 7-3 down the stretch. I see that happening, possibly getting the 3rd seed. So again, by hook or crook, if they're the 3rd seed going into the playoffs, that's basically right where you would have expected them. Russell Westbrook, another triple-double. They were the one who ended the Raptors' winning streak. So they, of course, are. You got to give them credit for that. Russell Westbrook, 25.3, 9.7, 10.2, 9.7 the rebounds, 10.2 the assists. Paul George, 21.8. Carmelo Anthony giving you 16.7. I like the addition of Corey Brewer off the bench. He's given them some points at 11.8. I still think you need a little bit more bench scoring. I wouldn't give Robertson many more minutes. But who knows? They've certainly turned things around, so give them credit in that regard. Then you have the Utah Jazz, winners of 9 straight. They had a big win streak earlier on in the season. Quinn Snyder deserves a lot of credit for getting that team to really play well. You wouldn't have expected they would have been anywhere near this okay after losing Gordon Hayward, but they've been able to get the contributions from Donovan Mitchell. You still have Rudy Gobert there, who can really solidify things. I think Ricky Rubio's played very well. He's been hurt now, but, certainly bumping them along. Derek Favors is kind of a solid guy, but you really have to give them credit because they don't really have that go-to guy. Jay Crowder coming over in the trade, I think, has brought a little stability to that in that regard. So I'm very surprised by the Utah Jazz after losing Gordon Hayward that they're able to play this well. The Pelicans, of course, Anthony Davis, a center, shredding the Celtics. No story there. Last night, they're still holding on. They have a 2-game lead over Denver, who's the last spot out. 2.5 over the Clippers, who are the 9th spot out. Then you have San Antonio, 40-30. They've lost 3 straight. Minnesota holding on for dear life at 40-31. But, of course, they had that Jimmy Butler injury. I think Minnesota may slip out, and that'll be very disappointing. The Nuggets have slipped just a bit. The Clippers have lost 3 straight, 18, which is 1.5 for the Nuggets of the 8th spot, and 18.5 from the top 1 or 2 out for the Clippers, both struggling. The Lakers are not yet eliminated, but they will not go to the playoffs. And then the tanking teams, Sacramento 23-48, Dallas clearly tanking 22-48. Memphis, while they've won one, they had, are obviously tanking. They lost like 18 straight in the Phoenix Suns at 19-52. All right, power rankings still Houston Rockets up top at number 1, Toronto Raptors number 2, the Golden State Warriors number 3, Portland Trailblazers number 4, the Oklahoma City number 5, and we're going to give the Celtics, even though I only do the top 5, I'm putting the Celtics at about 18th right now because of just how they're just disrespecting, their fans at this point. They're not putting these guys out, and they're not really trying hard. But that's it. We'll see you next time. Remember, we appreciate all subscriptions as well. So have a good night, and we will see you then. Thank you.